All right, so we just talked about what the obstacles are and their symptoms, but Patanjali does not leave us hanging. He then tells us, or suggests rather, what we can do about it. What can we actually practice? What can we put into practice to help us overcome these obstacles and work through these symptoms? So the next couple of videos are going to be reviewing a couple of these suggestions that Patanjali gives us at a time, because there are several. Sutra 133 says, one way to purify the mind and regain your focus is to be friendly with those who are happy, be compassionate with those who are suffering, be joyful with those who are virtuous, and be indifferent with those who are not virtuous. This is one of my favorite sutras, which I know, I feel like I say that about every one. But first, what I want to say is that all these practice suggestions are meant to help you purify your mind so that you can get to a place, a state, where you're better able to focus and concentrate, so that you can develop your meditation, so that you can access those higher states of consciousness. So what this is really speaking to, this particular practice right here in Sutra 133, is how you relate and engage in relationship with others in your life. And Patanjali says that if we practice these positions, I guess we could call it, with the different people that might be coming in and out of our life, we're better able to manage our energy and purify our mind, keep our mind clean so that we're not getting distracted or we're not being pulled astray by different emotions. And that will help us or give us the ability to better concentrate and focus. So we'll go through each of these individually. Be friendly with those who are happy. If there are people in your life who are happy, then be friendly with them. Mirror that happiness. We know through science that those mirroring neurons play a really big role in the vagus nerve and the ability to co-regulate between people. So if there are happy people in your life, feed off that happiness, be friendly with them, encourage that happiness. We want more happy people in our life. And if there's a happy person in your life and you're not in a very happy mood, what a wonderful invitation to bring some of that happiness into your life, to improve your mood and not get weighed down by your own moods, your own emotions, the things that are kind of pulling you down. This also means surround yourself with people who are happy so that you can find more opportunities to express happiness and friendliness in your life. The next one, be compassionate with those who are suffering. This is a really important reminder to practice ahimsa. And I translate ahimsa as compassion, but if there are people in your life who are suffering, rather than ignoring them, be compassionate. Be willing to open your mind and your heart to those who are suffering, rather than turning a blind eye or turning away or refusing to help or judging others because of their suffering. It's challenging to put this particular piece of this sutra into practice, but the more we develop that compassion, the more we find that we are able to purify our own responses to suffering in the world and find ways to move through the world with more compassion that ends up, again, mirroring. And by that I mean, if we are acting more compassionately, then the people around us will be compassionate towards us when we are suffering. So all of these are about developing reciprocal relationship. We want to be friendly with those who are happy. We want to be compassionate with those who are suffering. And as we offer compassion, be careful that you're also managing your own energy as a carer, as a server, as a giver. We can be compassionate but also maintain our boundaries so that the suffering of others doesn't pull us down with them. So that's something to practice with compassion as well. Be joyful with those who are virtuous. If there are people that are generous or virtuous or genuinely good people in your life, be joyful about that goodness, encourage that goodness, and mirror that goodness in your own life. We love to be around people that just exude joy. We love to be around good people because they inspire and encourage us to find the goodness and the joy in ourselves. So again, surround yourself with the virtuous, good people that you can find. And when I say good people, we all know people in our life that are just good people. Good to their core, good in their hearts, in the way that they interact with others, in the actions that they take, in the work that they do, in the way that they interact with your family, with you, with their family. So seek those people out, find those people, surround yourself with those people, and be joyful around them and with them so that you can add more joy to their lives and you can benefit from that joy in your own life too. And then finally, be indifferent with those who are not virtuous. And this is another one that is really challenging because it asks us to not let those who are not virtuous pull us down. And there are plenty of examples of not virtuous people in our life right now, and maybe in your personal life. You know people who are not virtuous, who maybe are not following rules, breaking the law, not following ethical standards. That's a big one in the yoga community. Or just don't choose to live their life in a way that's in alignment with your values and what you believe. And if that is, it's one thing to have beliefs, it's another thing to have virtue and to act on that. But if there are people in your life that are not virtuous and that are toxic, that might be a more modern way of putting it, those toxic people can really easily suck the energy and the life out of us if we spend a lot of time around them. And we can get sucked down the rabbit hole of that toxicity and allow that toxicity to absorb into our own being. And we certainly don't want that to happen. And so Patanjali's advice is to be indifferent. And I use this word indifferent. Sometimes detachment is used around this particular sutra or this idea of indifference. And that's a really hard thing to do because a lot of times people are like, well, I want to do something about that person who's not being virtuous. I want to show them or tell them or whatever it may be. I feel like I need to do something. And Patanjali actually kind of takes the road of certainly take action on the things that you believe in, but find a way to take action that's productive for the well-being of humanity rather than taking action that is destructive to one particular person or to your own energy. So with toxic people in your life, it's best to just not pay attention to them. Don't give them the opportunity to suck the life out of you, to suck your energy away from you. And that is not an easy thing to do. Our emotions get involved and we can be upset, we can be sad, we can be mad, we can let that fester. And then we just get stuck in this negative cycle, which takes us back to the obstacles and the symptoms. We might start to suffer negative thinking, pain. We might start to doubt ourselves. We might start to see some of these obstacles show up in our life. But Patanjali says, as much as you can, try to practice this indifference towards the people who are not virtuous and be friendly with those who are happy. Surround yourself with happy people. Be compassionate towards those who are suffering. Be joyful with those who are virtuous. Find ways to surround yourself with the happy, virtuous people. Find ways to put yourself in situations where you can be friendly and joyful and compassionate. And try not to pay attention to the people who are not acting virtuously, who are toxic in your life. And model the way that you want to live through friendliness, through joy, through compassion, such that the people who are not being virtuous won't even want to be around you anymore because they won't be able to understand the friendliness, the compassion, the joy. They won't be able to relate to it anymore, and there won't be any purpose to your relationship. And so that's where the indifference really is an action, although not certainly an easy one. Next, in Sutra 134, Patanjali gives another practice suggestion, which is to regain your focus by practicing breathing exercises that emphasize exhalation and breath retention. What I think is really fascinating about this particular sutra is that it highlights the benefits of breath work before pranayama as a limb is even offered, which comes along in the second chapter. So the fact that breath work shows up repeatedly throughout the sutra means that it's really important and something we should pay attention to. And specifically, Patanjali says that in our breathing practices, we should emphasize exhalation and breath retention, or the pausing at the top of the inhale and at the bottom of the exhale. And what science now can show us and proves to us is that extending of the exhalation allows us to access certain physiological responses through the vagus nerve that brings us into more of a parasympathetic response and physiologically turns our nervous system into a place that is much more relaxed and much more at ease and much more able to put us in a state of being where we're able to concentrate and focus and meditate. And then the breath retention is this piece where that is the gap. That's where everything pauses. The breath has paused, the thoughts pause, there's nothing there, there's silence, there's possibility, there's potential. That's that space where we have the opportunity to slip into what is sometimes called the gap. And that's the place where we're able to really meet our true self because we're no longer distracted by anything. So it's kind of cool that practice suggestion, which has been confirmed through scientific research and through many different scientific studies, and is, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's proven and encouraged by the medical community to really work on extended exhalation to bring about a more peaceful and relaxed state of being. Patanjali was out there saying this. The yoga gurus were out there saying this thousands and thousands of years ago. And it's right here in the sutra. So these two practices, just working on extending your exhalation, working on breath retention through pranayama practices, and in relationship to others, practicing friendliness with those who are happy, compassion with those who are suffering, joy for those who are virtuous, and indifference towards those who are not virtuous, those two practices can help us purify our mind and prepare us to be in a state that would allow us to meditate and move through to higher states of consciousness. So the principles that these two practice suggestions point to include kindness, compassion, joy, detachment, there's that indifference, and then of course practice, because we can't just read these sutras and do nothing with them. We have to actively practice being joyful, actively practice being happy and friendly, actively practice that indifference or detachment towards the toxic relationships in our life, actively practice all of these principles in order for us to see some of the benefits, to see some of the obstacles be overcome, to see some of the symptoms go away. In the next video, we'll talk about the next two practice suggestions that Patanjali gives us.